What's up, you beautiful people? Welcome back to the Christy-Faith Show, where we talk about the big questions in life, parenting, and apparently the art of completely falling on your face in a public debate. No, really, it's a skill. Today, we're talking about the drama that's been lighting up the internet lately, and the plot just keeps thickening. We've got forged manuscripts, fragile egos, legal threats, and one guy who literally got caught with his pants down. Spoiler alert. His name is Billy Carson. But look, this isn't just about spilling the tea for the sake of it, though I do love a good sip. The reason why we're talking about this today is there's a bigger lesson here for all of us, especially us as parents. How do we teach our kids to think critically, spot lies, and not grow up to be adults throwing tantrums because they got fact-checked? If that sounds good to you, well, you've come to the right place. Have a seat because we're about to break down the chaotic tale of Billy Carson, Wesley Huff, and Mark Menard. And trust me, it is a wild ride. But first, hi, I'm Christy-Faith, the host of this show here, author of the book Homeschool Rising, and I've been helping families provide children with the best education possible for over 20 years. I'm also the founder of Thrive Homeschool Community, a robust training community designed to offer you the essential training, advice, and support you need to plan, create, and maintain a fail-proof homeschool. Check out Thrive and all of my resources, including some really good freebies like my curriculum recommendations at christy-faith.com, and we'll put the link in the show notes. Okay, first, a quick primer on today's players because you need to understand who these people are to get the full picture. Enter Billy Carson. Billy Carson is the founder of Forbidden Knowledge, Inc., a platform that encourages people to question conventional history and religion. His work is all about exploring alternative perspectives on subjects people often take for granted, like Christianity. With a confident and charismatic style, he's built a really large following and positioned himself as a voice that challenges the mainstream narrative. Then we've got Wesley Huff, who's a legit professional in the field of apologetics. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the term apologetics, it comes from the Greek word apologia, meaning to give a defense. It's all about presenting evidence and reasoned arguments to defend a belief or position. In this case here today, the reliability of the Bible and the Christian faith. Now, apologetics doesn't mean apologizing, even though it sounds like it. It means being able to thoughtfully respond to challenges and questions, like Wesley Huff does so brilliantly. It's a critical field for anyone who values deeply rooted, rational faith, something I'm incredibly passionate about as a Christian myself and a homeschool mom. I loved watching this guy work on this podcast, which was a debate. He was firm on the important facts, but also mature and respectful. Basically, the gold standard for what you want in a Christian apologist. Wesley Huff works for Apologetics Canada, and he specializes in ancient manuscripts. This will come into play later. When I tell you this guy knows his stuff, I mean it. And finally, we have Mark Menard. Now, Mark is the host of a podcast called Elevating Beyond, and that podcast dives into faith, philosophy, and personal growth. The debate happened on his podcast. Now, here's where it gets juicy. Mark and Billy Carson, they're neighbors and used to be friends, like hang out at barbecues friends. And now they are, not. Things got really ugly, which we'll get to in just a minute. Okay, so now that you know the players, here's the spark that lit this dumpster fire. Mark invited Billy Carson and Wesley Huff to debate the reliability of biblical texts on his podcast. Seems simple enough, right? Wrong. Buckle up, Buttercup, because this is where it all starts to fall apart. Speaking of falling apart, a few years ago, we were struggling with math in our homeschooling, and I have to share with you a program that truly transformed math in our homeschool. It's called CTC Math. Now, as you know, Scott and I used to have a center, and at that center, we taught pretty much every math curriculum out there. So we know how vital a strong foundation is in mathematics for our kids' futures. Finding a homeschool math curriculum that delivered academic excellence without stress felt impossible until I tried CTC Math's free trial. And you guys, it was a game changer. It's mastery-based, helping your child fully grasp concepts while using mixed and spiral reviews to ensure they remember everything they've learned. The questions in the program are adaptive too, and they adjust to your child's level, building their confidence with steady progress. Plus, it's fun. It's gamified. Celebrations and certificates keep kids motivated. But best of all, CTC Math does all the teaching, grading, and testing for you, mama, right? Lessons are concise, clear, and easy to follow. Whether your child needs to catch up, keep up, or move ahead, CTC Math has you covered. Visit CTC Math now to start your free trial. It changed our homeschool, and I know it can do the same for yours too. Okay, back to the debate. So this big debate goes down. Billy Carson comes out swinging, claiming that ancient biblical manuscripts, including the Codex Sinaiticus and the Gospel of Barnabas, prove that the Bible isn't reliable. Oh, and he threw in that Gospel of Jesus' wife thing for good measure. That's the document that claims Jesus was married. Huge, if true, except it's not true. Like, not even a little bit. Wesley Huff, with all the chill of your favorite professor who never loses his cool, dismantled every one of Billy Carson's points. Like, if Wesley Huff wasn't so humble, I would almost feel bad for Billy Carson. And I watched the whole thing, people. Example 1. Billy Carson claims the Gospel of Jesus' wife contradicts the Bible because it claims that Jesus had a love life. Well, Huff debunked this claim by explaining that the Gospel of Jesus' wife is a modern-day forgery.
Well, hold on, because do you mind if I address the Gospel of Jesus' wife?
He provided evidence that the text was copied from a modern PDF version of the Gospel of Thomas, complete with typographical errors. Even the scholar who initially supported it later deemed it a fraud. Example 2. Billy Carson also used the Gospel of Barnabas to prove another point, trying to discredit the Bible. Nope. Huff pointed out that the Gospel of Barnabas is known as a medieval forgery filled with anachronisms and inconsistencies. He explained to Carson that the text lacks historical credibility and isn't even recognized by scholars as legitimate. Honestly, though, the peak cringe moment when Wesley Huff had to explain hermeneutics to Billy Carson, aka the basic rules of interpreting historical texts. Now, that's a big word for us non-experts, but if you're a historian using ancient texts to prove your points, understanding hermeneutics is scholarship 101. It's like explaining to a chef what an oven is. Embarrassing doesn't even cover it. One commenter captured this perfectly by writing, Billy Carson lost a debate and was exposed for using counterfeit items to prove his tall tales. That's what happened. The more Billy Carson couldn't defend his points, the less they were letting Wesley Huff speak. This behavior, and I had to sit through it and watch, and I was incredibly uncomfortable because Billy Carson and Mark Menard were actually really rude to Wesley Huff. This is a lapse in decorum that Mark Menard later acknowledged and apologized for. By the way, Mark Menard did make a response video and has handled this situation and the aftermath incredibly well and with humility. Now look, most debates would just end there. Clearly, one guy wins, one guy doesn't, and we all move on. But not this time. After the episode aired, social media exploded. People were roasting Billy Carson left and right. I was looking at the comment sections and there were words like, just because you're charismatic doesn't mean you have facts. And even harsher ones saying that Billy Carson didn't do his homework. And the word embarrassing kept popping up all over the videos. And honestly, fair. But then came the cease and desist letters. Yep. Billy Carson apparently sent legal threats to both Wesley Huff and Mark Menard, demanding that they stop sharing clips of the debate. Because when you can't win with facts, I guess the next move is lawyers? As a homeschool mom who values a family together approach and leans towards the classical and Charlotte Mason styles, I often struggle to bring my educational vision to life with my kids' diverse ages and learning needs. With all our interests and super packed schedule, bridging that gap between the dreamy homeschool I want and reality, I gotta be honest, it's a challenge. Now, yes, I know perfection isn't the goal, but if you're listening and you could use a little easing of your mental load in your day-to-day, I found a resource that has become the quiet hero of our routine, and it could be a really great option for you too. BJU Press Homeschool Curriculum. Now, many think that BJU Press Homeschool is solely an all-in-one option, and though it does excel in that role, did you know you can also opt for specific courses and tailor them to fit your family's needs just as I have? BJU Press Homeschool provides the perfect balance of structure and flexibility and easily complements my family's mixed age, family together on the couch learning style. They are second to none in integrating a biblical worldview, stimulating critical thinking, and offering tons of hands-on activities in the lessons. To find out how BJU Press Homeschool can come alongside you in your homeschooling goals too, visit bjupresshomeschool.com or click the link in the show notes. But wait, it gets even messier. Mark Menard, Billy Carson's former friend, remember, and literal neighbor, was not having it. He responded with an over 1 hour video that I also watched the entire thing. And y'all, he did not hold back, and he was not unkind, and he didn't throw Billy under the bus, but he was setting his boundaries. I'm proud of that guy. Mark talked about how hurt and disappointed he is that Billy Carson was behaving this way. He even publicly sided with Wes, explaining the importance of truth and credible research. Now, the comments on Mark's video, brutal. One said, "Mark, thank you for exposing Billy Carson's lack of scholarship. Someone had to say it." And another commenter joked, "Billy Carson needs to phone a friend next time, preferably one with a library card." Savage, but not wrong. Meanwhile, Wesley Huff kept it classy. He brought up the legal madness during an appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, which I also watched the full 3 hours of that. And he said he'd be happy to debate Billy Carson again. That's confidence for you. And honestly, the whole thing wouldn't have gone viral if Billy Carson had just let things be. But no, he decided to go scorched earth. That doesn't look so good on you, Billy Carson. So when all this drama started to unfold, social media exploded. People weren't happy with Billy Carson's lack of substance or Mark Menard not letting Wes Huff get a word in edgewise. Billy Carson has since done a live stream that I did not catch live, so I haven't seen it. But apparently he was doubling down, which we know you're not supposed to do that. But again, I haven't seen that one. As one viewer simply put it, Billy's video response to your podcast revealed his true character. Meanwhile, amidst all the noise and post-debate reactions, something remarkable has been happening. One individual shared, and I saw a lot of these comments, quote, "This debate conversation has brought me back around to Jesus. I've been an atheist agnostic for 10 years, and because of that video, I've started praying again. And I've been watching Wes Huff to learn more." And then they said, "I never, in all caps, ever would have thought this would happen." And I saw a lot of comments like this. This is just one example of how far-reaching the impact of this conversation has been. Okay, so now we've laughed, we've cringed, and maybe we've learned a little bit about medieval forgeries. Here's the real takeaway. This drama isn't just entertaining, it's a cautionary tale, especially for us parents. Number one, we have to think critically and train our kids to think critically as well. The world is full of clickbait, riveting conspiracy theories, and catchy headlines. But that doesn't make them true. Teach your kids to ask questions. Where's the evidence? Does this hold up under scrutiny? Wesley Huff showed us how powerful it is to prioritize facts and scholarship over flashiness. One viewer expressed this well by stating, quote, "Billy Carson has introduced me to the Honorable Wesley Huff. And to be honest, I had seen that guy in bits and pieces on social media, but now I've done deep dives and I love this guy." And finally, humility matters. Billy Carson went the sore loser route, doubling down when he could have just admitted, "Hey, I got this wrong." Wesley Huff, on the other hand, kept his cool and stuck to the truth. And we have to end on this one final beautiful note. This commenter stated, "The debate will be remembered as A, the guy who did not even know what was written in the Sinai Bible, yet used it to reject the greatest event in the history of humanity confirmed in the Sinai Bible. B, the person who considered himself the foremost whatever on whatever and could not even distinguish between fake and real. And C, the day that everyone went Wes." Woo! What a ride, right? But honestly, the best part of this whole story isn't who won or lost. It's a reminder that truth is worth fighting for. As parents, teaching our kids to think critically, verify facts, and stay humble, even when they mess up, might just be the most important life lessons we can give our kids. Thanks for hanging out with me today on the Christy-Faith Show. If you've got thoughts on today's episode, drop me a comment or DM me. I want to hear all your hot takes. Until next time, parents, stay curious, think critically, and please, 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 please Don't believe everything you see on YouTube. Bye for now.